Greetings, brethren, it is the donkey once again. And my voice is going for some reason. I don't know, I've not been talking that much. Anyway, welcome back to Donkey vs. Beer, where we tackle random beers from around the world. And today we are once again back in Germany. Ooh, not been to Germany for a while. I don't really count craft breweries as German, even if they are here, because that's not really a German thing. We are talking about something traditional and actually German. Now this is once again a beer that my absolutely lovely friend Carla brought me from her trip to the Rhön. Rhön is a mountain range that is sort of eastish from here. Sort of on the border between Bavaria and Thuringia and Hessen. And once again, it's one of those eco beers. I talked about that before. There's a whole craze in Germany going on about things being bio. I don't know if you can see that. Bio right there. Yeah, there you go. Now you can see it. And that's sort of a thing where they tell you it's ecologically sourced and ecologically grown, but all that really means is they don't use specific kinds of pesticides and instead use other kinds of pesticides. I don't think that much of the bio craze. I think it's mostly a marketing thing to appeal to people who have been duped into caring about this kind of thing. For the most part, it really doesn't make that much of a difference. The only thing that's really actually ecological is if you grow your own vegetables, if you grow your own hops and brew your own beer from that. And nobody really does that. This is still very much commercial. They just use different kinds of pesticides. Whatever. But anyway, it is called Rother Bräu. Now this is apparently a beer that they drink a lot in that region, in the Rhön region, which, yeah, it says the small, pretty family brewery in the nature reserve Rhön, which, you know, I'm much more happy about that than all the eco nonsense that's on it, because I do love myself a family brewery. I think that's cute. I think that's lovely. I think if you're still able to brew in sort of a family business style in 2021, you're awesome and you deserve my support. What else does it say? We have a 4.7% Pilsner, and it does say UrPils, and I think I explained this before. There are some sort of prefixes that people put in front of their Pilsners, like Ur or Edel. Ur being sort of ancient, OG, original, the you know, the pre, you know, where it comes from, the original, the where it all springs from. And it really just means that this is going to be a Pilsner, or I think usually that means this is going to be a Pilsner a bit closer to the Bohemian original. Pilsners very famously come from originated in the town of Pilsen in Bohemia, which now is the Czech Republic. Originally that was a part of Germany, or, you know, the greater Holy Roman Empire. And yeah, so with an OG original kind of Pilsner, I kind of assume that it's going to be closer to those Bohemian Pilsners, because our German Pilsners have also kind of adapted over the years. They've become a little bit more mellow, whereas the Bohemian Pilsners tend to be a little bit more strong on the bitterness. But we shall see if that holds up. pouring a Pilsner, a proper Pilsner, is an art form. Usually you need a Pilsner glass. I don't have a Pilsner glass. If you're German, you will understand that owning a Pilsner glass is futile because pretty much every type of beer has its own glass. And I'm not that kind of person. I don't own a glass for every type of beer. I think that's ridiculous. I have these mugs, and I have some pints, and I have some half pints, and I think I got another type of beer glass at some point. Oh yeah, of course I have some wheat beer glasses, but that's really it. So yeah. I will say this, it certainly pours really well. That's good, because this is a traditional Pilsner. That's what you want. You want a good foam crown. You want the crown to end about where the mug ends. This line usually indicates that it's 500 milliliters. And then you want the crown to sort of extend toward the top. Maybe go above it a little bit, but not too much. But anyway, let's try this ecologically sourced Pilsner from the Rhön. Huh. That is a very nice Pilsner. So with Pilsners, I'm a bit picky. It's very interesting because I do like the Pilsners that we have locally, because mostly because I've grown up with them, and Pilsner is the most common type of beer that you can get at any event, at any restaurant, at any bar. They all have Pilsners. And so, yeah, I'm just really used to what we have locally because I think I've said this before, but German beer is still very, very localized. Mostly this has to do with price, because if the beer comes from your town, it's just cheaper than beers from all across Germany, even if those beers are, better. So people usually have a bias toward their local beers. And I certainly am no exception to that. I absolutely love the local beers that we have. They are some of my favorites. But there are certain things that sort of... I lost my train of thought. God damn it, I drank too much today. Anyway, but I do also have a great appreciation for Bohemian Pilsners. I think Bohemian Pilsners are really, really lovely. And for me, they do kind of encapsulate that particular style of beer a bit better than our sort of German beers do on average. I talked about this previously, I think. I don't know, whenever this video comes out. With the restaurant Pilsners. There's a few brands that you will see across Germany at a lot of different restaurants, because they just hand out their contracts a lot more. So along the local beers and local Pilsners, you will usually see something like Hasseröder, Bitburger, Warsteiner. There's a certain kind of that beer that just kind of makes the rounds, and you get it a lot in various restaurants. And those are kind of the German style of Pilsner, where they really scaled back a little bit on the bitterness from the Bohemian originals, because the Bohemian Pilsners are very heavy on bitterness, very heavy. I've said this before many times. If you're an IPA drinker, you should absolutely try some Bohemian Pilsners. That would be your Staropramen, Budvar. What are some others? I have one in the pantry that I was supposed to drink at some point for the channel. Something with Z. There's a bunch of these. All right, so all the Czech ones. Staropramen and Budvar are definitely the biggest ones. Oh, there's of course Pilsner UrQuell. That's another Czech one that is fantastic. Probably my favorite Bohemian Pilsner. Spoilers. And they are very, very, very bitter. So if you love your IPAs, you might actually really appreciate those kinds of beers. This particular one is somewhere in between those two. So the German ones, they really scaled back on the bitterness. They're a bit more rounded. They often remind me a lot more of how pale and dark lagers are brewed, where these sort of roundedness and balance of the different flavors is a lot more important than being really strong in some direction. And this kind of skirts that. It's still very well rounded, but at the same time, it does lean a bit more into that bitter area that you would expect from a Bohemian Pilsner. Yeah, there's also a lot more sweetness going on than I would expect from just your average German Pilsner, because they tend to lean a bit more toward, you know, savory and less bitterness, but more kind of an acidic thing, just to balance everything out. And this one does lean heavily into the bitterness and to the sweetness. Also some acidity. That's actually I think it's the least savory of all the, you know, of all the flavor variants. The savory component is the least pronounced in this one. It's a really interesting beer. I would certainly not be upset to receive this in a restaurant or at a country fair or something like that. A cap, as we call it, where I live. Which I think I haven't talked about this before, but I'm not sure I should start in this one because this video is already getting pretty long. I'll talk about this in the future when I have one of the more local beers, I think. But yeah, overall, very, very nice, very interesting. Again, the eco is pretty much just a marketing gag. It really doesn't change too much about the flavor. I don't really get anything in it that I would consider, oh, I can really taste the ecological sourcing. Oh, I really can't. But yeah, it's very nice. It's definitely somewhere between what I would consider a German Pilsner and a Bohemian Pilsner. Ratings-wise, I think I would enjoy this more than your average restaurant Pilsner. So I think I'm going to give this a 7 out of 10. It's pretty good, but I think there are some other Pilsners that I would prefer over it. But yeah, overall, very, very solid. So the people living in that wonderful region, and especially this family-owned brewery, they sure know their thing. So good for them, I say. I hope you have a wonderful evening and that you enjoyed this video. And if you did, you should come back on another day and watch me drink another beer. This is going to be the last one I record tonight because, whew, I'm buzzed now. I've stopped talking about what other beers I did the same day because I think it becomes really confusing as I kind of tend to mix up these videos now. You might also see me jump from kind of fat to a lot less fat and slightly more puffy and slightly less puffy. Don't worry about that, it's time travel. But yeah, please come back and join me on another day for another beer. Take care, guys.